says I don't fit in, that's alright with me. There's many things I'll never do, those things weren't meant to be. I love writing, playing songs, turning it up and singing along. Right here with you right now, it's true, I'm right where I belong. But I've got what I got, whether free or solely pie, I ain't throwing it away or letting it rot. So here I come, here I go, oh, ready or not, I'm gonna give it what I got. Gonna give it what I got. Alright, hello my friends. This video is just a follow-up. I did a post recently. This year I had quite a bit of a breakthrough in cutting some stubborn body fat, and I was already healthy. I was already lean, but I had some goals with fat loss and dialing in a little more muscle definition, and had a breakthrough this year. And so this video, I don't want it to take forever, so I'm not going to go into everything about my specific nutrition. I'm not going to do too much about workouts. I want to just stay focused on what I did and what worked for me. So I'll give you a couple of disclaimers. One being that I admittedly don't know it all, but I'm going to tell you, what I did and and how that worked. And then the other thing is I will potentially glance away from the camera periodically because I made a couple notes. I wanted to, just prevent myself from leaving things out that I thought would help and be beneficial, as well as a couple of friends submitted a couple questions from some of the posts and some of the photos that I shared. So I want to get to those too. So I guess kind of just without too much of the backstory and weight up and down journey, where I'm going to start with is just the last now it's 2.5 years. I had done some weight loss. I had some success and I was in a range. I was like 135 to 140. And it didn't quite have, like I said, it was healthy. It didn't have the muscle definition, and just, leaning up some stubborn fat just sort of seemed like the impossible to lose pounds for me. And so I'll tell a little bit about what didn't work and what did work. So I was stuck in this range for a couple of years, and it just seemed like I couldn't change that. I couldn't go lower, and I wanted to, like I said, just dial some stuff in and get a little more cut. One of the first big key things that I did differently this year, I got my wife actually found, and then I discovered I loved it, a way better app than something I've been using before for tracking exactly everything that I'm doing with calorie intake and calorie burn, the exercise and workouts and stuff that I'm doing. So that app is called Chronometer. There's no H, so it's CRONO meter. You can get it, go onto chronometer.com on your desktop, and then also they've got an app for the phone. I love the app for the phone because it's always with me. So if I'm changing anything throughout the day, if a workout I had planned got shorter, longer, burned more calories, added something I'm going to eat, the phone's always there, that I'm adding what it is I'm doing and seeing what I'm accomplishing with my day. Also, an awesome feature about the app is that it has a barcode scanner. So I'm going to add some other food. I don't want to create new custom food like some apps let you do, and you put in your total calories and which ones were fat and which were protein and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to type all that stuff in. It's enough work working full-time, having a family, training 12 to 13 workouts a week for racing, and tracking my nutrition. I don't want to type in custom foods. And so the barcode scanner is just awesome because any package I have, just hit add food, scan barcode, scan it, it pulls up all the exact information on that food. Sometimes it doesn't take, and it says, are you adding a new food? I just hit no thanks, exit out, scan barcode again. Sometimes it's the second, third try, and then it picks it up, and it gets me all that information, so I can really honestly track everything that I'm eating. So the app is a big deal. To me, it's just such a valuable tool. So that was one key thing that I did that was better this year, so I can really report 100% of everything that I'm doing, and therefore track, accurately, how my food intake, how my energy, my fuel needs, what they are, and adjust that and really stay on track on any day. So my method with using the app, I go in there, I tell it, height, weight, age, etc. You can tell it your weight, and then you can tell it a weight goal, and then you can tell it your target of how much weight to lose per week. And then that's just going to give you what kind of calorie deficit you would need to be projected on a daily basis in order to hit that weight loss goal each week. For me, and kind of the body weight where I'm at now, I tell it I want to lose half a pound a week. It tells me, okay, you need to be a 250 calorie deficit. If I tell it I want to lose a whole pound a week, it's double, it's 500. I tell it I want to leave I can't talk words, lose 2 pounds a week, it's going to say 1,000 calorie deficit a day. That's really challenging on a day, to be that short on calories. That'd be really challenging on a day where just my total calorie intake is so low because I'm not doing much exercise. On a day where I'm doing a lot of work, a lot of physical labor or workouts, it may be easier to hit a higher deficit. But at any rate, you can just set that to what the target is. Do something that you can work with. If going 500 calories low per day is too hard on you, or if you find it's not a routine you can stick with, you can just change it. Be gradual. With the weight loss. You don't want to starve yourself. I didn't starve myself, and I'm not going to recommend that to anybody. But if you're trying to cut fat. Again, I don't know everything. What worked for me is I had to have a calorie deficit. I had to stay on track, and it worked like clockwork. I would weigh in every night. I'd weigh in every morning. Of course, at night you've done your eating. You've taken in lots of fluids. Water is heavy, so you'll have your highest weigh in at night. Then you sweat. Your body does a bunch of processes while you're sleeping. You wake up in the morning, go to the bathroom, you weigh in, and for me, that's always the lowest weigh in. But I would track that continually to always kind of see where I'm at when it's fresh in my mind, knowing what I've done with my day. So I put in a weight goal of lose a pound a week. So 500 calorie deficit, and then for my activity settings, what I found worked great for me, far better than something I'd previously tried where I was trying to track things, and going off of a basic, very active lifestyle target where it told me the same amount of calories every day, hit this much. What I did is this time I used the sedentary setting. So I told it just as if I did nothing. And for me to find out how many calories do I need if I didn't have workouts and I was trying to lose some weight. So that's my basic calorie need. I'm just going to burn that much energy no matter what. Then from there, I have my weight loss goal for my calorie deficit, and then I track all my foods and I enter 100% of my workouts. So each day is tailored to whatever I need that day. If I'm going to do more work, my body's going to need more fuel, and I'm going to take that in. And so I can have monster workout days where my real calorie target is 3,500, maybe even up to 4,000 calories, because I'm going to burn that. And then I could have the very next day, I'm not doing much, and I really only need to burn, or I really only need to eat 1,700 calories. And so I can have these really big jumps because I'm matching taking in to what I really need for that particular day. So that's what I did. That's key parts of my method. The other thing was macro targets. What I went for, and you may find, each person is unique. You may find something different is going to work for you. Me, I train for Spartan races, so I'm an endurance athlete. I do some really big volume cardio in some portions of the week. Also, I do resistance training. I want to do a lot of work, strength kind of work. So I go what I think is kind of, somewhat high protein, but at any rate, my targets were 48% carbs, 32% protein, and that only leaves 20% for fat. So it's a pretty low fat approach, And then on top of that, if I'm have on a lower calorie day, 20% of a low number, can be restrictive to where I really have to be conscientious of what foods I'm eating, because a lot of time fats just like to tag along. You can have dry, crunchy carbs, and there's going to be some fat tagging along with that. You can have some lean meat, and your fat's going to tag along with that. I like things like really lean, petite sirloin steaks, and we'll grind them up and and make burgers out of them. But it's a lean steak burger, but the fats are still tagging along. Even just boneless, skinless chicken breast, baked in the oven without skin on it. Some fats are tagging along, so you're supposed to get fats. Everybody's supposed to eat fat, but for me, and what worked was achieving some significant weight loss when I was already lean, and it seemed like it was so stubborn to come off. That's what I used. So 48, 32, and 20%. And some other things about that, I would just, I would say, just learn how you respond. One example I can give in terms of what works for me as I was trying to do low calorie days is my body's response was, if I start eating earlier, the earlier I eat food in the morning, it felt like the more jump started my appetite became, and so I was hungry and I would eat, but then it wouldn't feel like it lasted that long, and I was hungry and I would eat, and it would be basically impossible for me to stay on a low calorie day, because you don't want to spend your day in pain. I certainly don't. So, but I found what worked for me personally was waiting longer. I might be up at 4 a.m. All I have is coffee. I've got skim milk in it. I've got some sweet leaf stevia in it, and got very little calories. I might be, get my food together for a 10-hour work day. Plus, I'm going to go to the gym before work. I'm out the door 5:30 a.m. I'm putting in work at the gym, burning through a bunch of fuel, and then I'm at work. I hit the desk and it's go go go, and so it might be, it's 8:30, it's 9 o'clock. I've been up 5 hours. I haven't eaten anything, and I start eating then. And those days would be really easy for me to stay on track, and not go over on my calories, and not be too hungry. And so that's something that worked for me. My wife has had a different experience, with just sort of the way her body responds. As an example, she'll do something like, okay, it's morning, you haven't been up very long, it's 9 a.m., I'm gonna have a breakfast, it's kind of high fat, couple of eggs, some nuts, a little piece of cheese, and then some berries. And she's like, man, I'm set, I feel satiated, like I'm not even thinking about food until 2:30 in the afternoon. So that's how her body responds. Mine is different. I get started up early with gobbling up some food, and it just fires up my appetite, and I'm hungry quicker, more and more often. So it can take some time for you to learn what's working for you, because you're going to need a lifestyle that you can stay on track with. You need something that you can actually continue to do. One of these things is just, it seems like such a waste, that I hear about, some people talk about, whether it's coworkers or whatever, but people do this thing where they go, okay, let's see, I spent the last decade not really paying attention to my health and nutrition, got myself a physique that I'm not happy with, right? And you can go ahead and ignore what society and everybody else thinks about you, or your judgmental neighbor or coworker or whatever, but a physique that you're not happy with. People spend a decade getting there, but they're not happy about it. And then they go, okay, well, I just read about this great fad diet. I don't like anything on the list, and it's torture, and I'm hungry all the time, but I'm going to go through misery for 90 days because somebody in Hollywood says it's good, and then the reward is, once I get there, once I endure this 90 days of torture, so a bunch of weight has come off. Maybe I'm not really even to my goal, but it's as long as I can stand it, and the reward is, finally, relief. I get to go back to all the things I like doing, meaning the exact same lifestyle that got you the physique you don't want. And if that's what you're looking forward to as the reward, you're just going to have the exact same result that you weren't happy with previously. So those kinds of approach. I mean, it's basically you might as well just take out that 90 days of torture because you're going to be at the same spot you were before that, anyways. You're just going to have a few months where you hated life and the pounds came right back on anyways. So health, nutrition, fitness, it needs to be a lifestyle that you can live, that you can just keep up. And so I totally lost my train of thought. Just needs to be a lifestyle that you can keep up. So you got to learn yourself. You got to find the things that work for you. I take in a wide variety of foods, things that work well for me with being satisfied and getting in a volume of food, getting in a lot of nutrients without going over on my actual needs. Is I do salads all the time. I like them. I have a lot of vegetables in there, but then I add a lot of things that have pop and flavor and texture, whether it's some cut up steak, some chicken breast, sunflower seeds, dried cranberries, sometimes even just fresh fruit, just some fresh mango or peach or some sliced up strawberries in the rest of this vegetable salad. A lot of fresh fruits. There's no carbs that I personally am going to agree with demonizing. If there's something you're legitimately intolerant to, obviously you should stay away. But for me, and during my journey of weight loss, and again, I was targeting nearly 50% of my food coming from carbs. I'm not on a keto diet. I don't want to put a bunch of time into bad mouthing keto diet. I've seen some people get some big weight loss achievements with it. But I'm an endurance athlete. I need a lot of fuel. I'm going to burn through a lot of carbs. Fat, whether even if I'm metabolizing it, even if I was in ketosis, which if you're going to explore that, you should really read, get educated, because there's pros and cons, there's potential health risks to it, and you should just educate yourself on that before jumping into that. Like I said, I've seen some friends really succeed with some weight loss, but glycogen is the thing that I'm going to be able to metabolize and use that in my system when I'm going hard in some kind of effort that I'm going through 15, 18, 20 calories a minute. That's the reason that marathon runners, they don't get that fuel in them before mile 20, and they hit the wall because they've run out of glycogen, they've run out of sugar that they can metabolize at the tempo they're using it. So if you go into metabolizing body fat for your energy, yes, you can do it, but you can't do it that fast. So for me, being an endurance athlete, I looked at that idea, and I just don't believe that keto is the thing that's going to work well for me. I target 48% of my energy from carbohydrates. And so I don't rule any one thing out. Potatoes, especially baked potatoes, they're good. They got a ton of vitamins, a ton of nutrients. If they're not, fried in the vat of oil, they're a really low fat, really good carbohydrate to get. I don't rule out rice, bread, really any of those. However, I have my targets every day, in terms of how much I need, and I find that it's very easy to get carbs. It's very easy to get, half of my calories for the day for carbs without needing to go out and make sure I add a bunch of beans and rice and etc. To my day. They're just pretty easy to get. Some of the things that I'll tell you didn't work for me when I was stuck in a rut and it seemed like I couldn't break out of that weight range that I was in. I couldn't shed a little bit more of that belly fat that I wanted to take off and get a little better definition. Don't skip the weekends. I be like, oh, I'm healthy, I'm on track, and I'm, had a routine of entering my foods that I was eating for the day, and then just weekends are busy, you're having fun, you're spending time with family, maybe you're going out more, and so I would just sort of operate on, I kind of know what I'm doing, I'm pretty well educated on nutrition, I feel like I'm eating pretty well today, but not keeping track of it, and anytime that I'm not keeping track of it, it ends up being higher, calories add up quick, and thing is, food's not bad, it's just that I would take in what I didn't need. And so my weight would be up on Monday, and then I'd work it back by Friday, and then it would be date night, and then I'd be up again. So that's what worked for me. Being disciplined on tracking everything I did, everything that I needed, and matching that every day. Every day was a little bit different from the next, and so no skipping anything, no leaving anything out. That's the other thing. People who even are the ones interested in health, nutrition, fitness so much that you're tracking, you're entering food, you're tracking calories, things like that. Still, the two most common things that come up is people over-reporting to themselves, or their app or whatever, their tracker, over-reporting the exercise that they're doing, or the amount of calories that they were burning from it, and underreporting, leaving things out. Oh, it would look like it was one serving. You need to know what you're really taking in. I mean, if your ice cream is half a cup, measure that out and see what that really looks like before you tell yourself you ate a serving and you really ate 3. Because if you're not giving yourself accurate information, you're not going to end up with the result that you want. Then you go look back and you go, oh no, I was on track. You weren't if you didn't report it correctly. So, I use measuring cups here in the house, tablespoon, teaspoon, whatever's appropriate. I don't have a fancy digital food scale. It'd be nice to have one, but I don't. My wife just happened to have around the house a mail, envelope scale, but it's, tracks the, it weighs ounces and etc. So that's what I use that a lot. If it's a by the ounce, by the pound, kind of food serving that I'm taking in. But I really want to stress, hide nothing. You need to tell yourself the truth on everything that you ate, and if that meant you went over, don't fudge the numbers and go, well, I'll just report a half serving. That way it doesn't look like I blew it today. Just tell yourself 100% of the truth. Give yourself 100% of the information. If you went over, you went over. I do it. I did it during a weight loss journey. Sometimes you go over. The things I would recommend is still you don't hide anything. You acknowledge it. You forgive yourself. It's okay. Sometimes you just actually planned a cheat day, and some days you didn't have an intent. We're like, I know I'm going to go over. I'm dining out. I'm going to eat more. I'm going to drink more. That's fine. I'll get back on track tomorrow. Sometimes you're just like, you're adding it up, or maybe you're entering some foods and some exercise later, and you're like, oh geez, I thought I planned today really well, and I'm not on the track I wanted to be on. It's okay. We all do it. So forgive yourself. And if you got a goal and you're not, reaching it yet, just adjust accordingly. Whether that means, tighten it up and getting a little more disciplined to follow up that cheat day. And if you gain something, take it back off. You can do it. Using this method of having a very reliable app, tracking 100% of everything I did, those macro targets I talked about, 48, 32 carbs and protein, 20% from fat, and really just matching each day to that day's calorie needs. And that's what works for me. And now I feel like I've got it locked down. I've got it like it's just a switch. I can flip it on and off. If I want to set tomorrow, I came up a little bit and I wasn't expecting that. Tomorrow I'm going to dial it back down. I was on maintain weight, but I'm just going to go right back into my app for tomorrow, and I'm going to hit, I want to lose a pound a week. That's going to set me to 500 calorie deficit, and then I'm going to, adjust my nutritional plan for, what that target is. So that's the things that work for me. Tracking it every day, reporting everything, a reliable app. And then I'll get to a couple of questions that some friends had. So one of them just sent me a question. He's a fellow Spartan racer and said, do you find it easier to run and complete obstacles at the lower weight and the lower body fat percentage? Yes, absolutely. I've been putting in a lot of work all year long, even before I had the success on the weight loss, with gradual increases in my speed and endurance work. And I was already doing that. But I definitely have been hitting the next level and the next level and the next level on speed in a tempo that I can sustain through a big monster 12-mile workout. Um, I've been hitting the next level faster for sure, and it's just a fact that the less you weigh, you know, I'm carrying less. You know, it takes effort. Whether you have, muscle, and muscle is a good thing for you, and you get a lot of benefits out of it. So I'm not saying lose your muscle, but whatever the weight is that you have, it takes more effort to carry more weight. And for me, being a racer, having body fat weight, that's not doing me any good. That's not projecting me faster. Those aren't the muscle fibers I'm using, for forward momentum. I don't want to lose muscle, but yeah, the lower body fat, lower overall weight, definitely. I think that's been a factor in having a successful year, and I've been making a lot of gains. I'm currently at my personal absolute peak on the tempo that I can perform at in the workouts, and it's translating to the races. Got another friend that just let me know. Basically, he was kind of had the same thing as me. He's pretty healthy. He's out there. He's killing it on the races, but he also feels stuck in a range and just not getting some get that body fat percentage to come down lower. With that, I would say to that friend, just take a look at, I guess take it. Hopefully, my example helps. Some of the things that didn't work, for me, like skipping weekends, trying to just go off of my general knowledge and of what's healthy and kind of about how many calories this food has and about how many that food has. That if you're already, fairly lean and healthy, and I think that he is, that it, the body can be stubborn to get to some lower target. It's not real easy to maintain leaner and leaner physique, and so it could be some little things like that you can identify and capture by really track everything, report everything, don't skip any days during the week, and keep weighing in and see what the results are, because you've got that information of what it is you did, and you're seeing how it's impacting you. Another friend, and he's got physical labor job. He does a lot of training, does a lot of workouts. He hits the gym a lot for gaining strength. Says he's tracking his foods. Can't lose some stubborn fat. Again, some of the things that I would say to look at is those macronutrient targets. And again, what I did, that it just works for me, and I succeeded in taking off. I mean, I was in a 135 to 140 range. It was about 138 when I got focused, and I got down to 125. So compared to that 138, I mean, that was like 10% of my total mass. In fact, at 138, I wasn't guessing there was 13 pounds that I had to lose. I just stayed on track and got to a number that I thought was going to be the right number, and I took a look in the mirror and I'm like, that's not exactly what I wanted yet. I guess I'm going to go a little bit further. But that was significant, for me to lose that amount, and it was stubborn. So that target, 48, 32, 20 worked for me. I don't know if it will work for that friend. But I would take a look at your macro targets. Are you feeling yourself, in the way that you need, for the workouts that you're doing? But are you really tracking everything? Do you have a calorie deficit that you're working on? You shouldn't be starving, but if you're giving yourself exactly the right amount of calories every day to maintain your current weight, then I believe that's probably exactly what you're going to do, is you're going to maintain it and not take something off. Take a look at that, at the macros, at your reporting, your reporting completeness. Maybe take a deeper look into getting some information for yourself on your particular physical activity types, and find out how accurate your assessment of the calorie burn in those activities are, to see if you're misinformed a little bit on some aspect of the actual calorie burn that you're getting from some of those different things, and that's going to impact how much you really need every day. And then so I would say stick with the plan. Keep doing it continually. Do it every day. See what the result is. See if that's working for you. If it's not, do you need to dial back carbs? Do you need to take the fat percentage a little bit lower, etc. And make an adjustment, but then stick to it. And weigh in at night, weigh in the morning, and see what that impact that has for you. So hopefully this is beneficial. One of the that's just one of the joys of of life, really, and definitely in the Spartan racing community that I'm involved in. Pursuing your own goals, dreaming big, pushing for things that you want to accomplish. But as you hit milestones, or as you find something that works for you, that's one of the things that's just a joy in life, is hopefully being a benefit, being a blessing, to the next person, and sharing a little bit of what worked for you, and maybe it builds and lifts somebody else up and helps them achieve where they're trying to get. So that's it for now. I know some friends had questions about the workouts, and I'm sure I'll do some follow-up videos with some more specifics on how I get my nutrition and how I stay on track. But I didn't want to drag this one out forever. So that's the information that I have for you on what worked for me with just cutting some stubborn body fat, dialing a little bit better definition for the physique, and that was the goal that I had. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys at the finish line soon.